I've developed an approach and a philosophy over the last 31 years of my career as a coach, working with all age groups, as stated, with high school students, with junior college students, with college students at two different major universities, at Stanford University and UCLA, in the National Football League with the Philadelphia Eagles, the St. Louis Rams, and the Kansas City Chiefs. And through these, all right, and through these experiences, I've had the opportunity to work for, coach with, directly, 24 other people that have been NFL head football coaches. So I've learned from everybody. But I've learned more from the individuals that I have had the opportunity to coach on the field than I have in the classroom or in the textbooks or from the other coaches that I've worked for. Because you, the cadets, you, the future leaders that will be leading other leaders and maybe doing for them what your professors, your military staff is doing for you now. You'll learn. You'll learn from these people. I've learned a lot. And through learning and evaluating my own personality and profile as a teacher, as a leader, as a coach, in working with these age groups, I found out what worked for me and what best helped the individual that I was dealing with at that time. And what I'm going to do with you today is share 7 very simple common sense principles in leadership. Common sense is not always a common practice in leadership. Because I've been around for a long time, and I've seen coaches, I've seen teachers, I've seen administrators and owners do some very stupid things when it comes to doing the right things for the leadership of their organization and the individuals, both individually and collectively within their organization. I'm going to visit with you as if you are leaders, because you are. You just aren't hired to do it yet. You aren't fully trained to do it yet. But there will be a day that you will be. And you'll be great, and there'll be some that ascend beyond and become leaders of great stature, like already have been developed through this educational program and institution here at the Academy. I've had the opportunity to be here twice. Once as a high school football coach at Hillsdale High School in San Mateo. The Academy flew up about 10 to 12 Northern California high school coaches in a flying boxcar, I remember, from Moffett Field, and brought us up here and had to spend a couple days to show us what a great academy really is all about, and to meet a lot of people and coaching staff so we could go back into our areas and represent the Air Force Academy in a way in recruiting. If we have a great athlete in our high school team that's also a good student, we could say, geez, Bob Christopherson, you ought to take a look at the Air Force Academy, because we've been there and seen it. The next time I was here was in 1975. I was the head coach at UCLA, and I brought up my UCLA football team to compete against the Air Force Academy, and we tied 15-15. It was a heck of a football game. What we didn't know at that time, after that tie, we would go on, win the PAC Conference Championship, play Ohio State, the #1 team in the country, and beat them in the Rose Bowl. My point being, the Air Force Academy tied a very, very good football team that day. Okay. Now let me say this. These principles may seem very simple as I give you a one term and elaborate on them. And you won't remember everything I say. But I hope they're meaningful, and I hope somewhere in a classroom where you're studying or working or you're in the field and you're going through training, you'll say, geez, Coach Vermeil mentioned this. I think one of the #1 things you have to be, if you're going to end up being a good leader, is you have to like people. Like people. I really don't know how important it is for your people to like you. Respect you, yes. But I think it's critical that the people that you're going to lead in the future like you. Know that you care about them. Know that you care. On my coaching staff, we always worked around the concept and principle that players don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. In fact, the first step in establishing the trust level needed to lead is developed through people believing their leader really likes them. Their leader cares. I just don't think when in a position of leadership that you can pass up this very basic human need and expect them to give you everything they have to give for you to succeed. A name came up in our meeting there, Dante Hall. Dante Hall is the greatest kick returner in the history of the game, and he will prove that before he's finished. He's already equaled all the records. When I came to Kansas City, Dante Hall was a player that no one talked about, was about ready to finish his career, and he'd just been here a year. And I saw some specific attributes in this guy that compared with a receiver kick returner that I had in my world championship team with the Rams named Azakim. So I took him on as a personal project because he was on a road to failure. And I spent a lot of time with him. And my wife spent a lot of time with him. My coaches spent a lot of time. And he gradually started to come on. Well, a year later, he said to me, he said, Coach, you know, the way you always talk to me, I thought you really, really only cared about me. But now that I've been around you for a couple of years, I see that you care about all of us. And maybe that's more important. Maybe that's why we can end up being a real good football team. See? We believe in our approach to leadership, myself and my coaching staff, believing and letting know our people care, that I care about you athletically, physically, socially, morally, in every character, everything that touches you when you put on a uniform representing our organization, we're going to coach you in it and try to lead you properly. We constantly try to move the commitment from the head to the heart.